July is moving pretty fast, so is mobile gaming. Every week brings another new wave of new releases, and only a handful are good enough to survive it. Hello friends, this is MOBA. Today we're checking out 20 more new mobile games in July 2026 for Android and iOS. So first things first, this actually came our way just a few hours ago. Super Box Delivery is actually the original PC game ported to exclusively Android right now, and it's the kind of game, I mean, it sort of caught me off guard. Like I went in expecting another endless running game, but in this case endless driving game, judging by the trailer by the way, but it really did have enough genuine charm of its own to keep me playing for a few extra minutes. So yeah, the driving's pretty smooth, going through traffic is pretty satisfying alongside the usual formula. You also get to pick up deliveries while trying not to wreck your van, as there's classic energy to it. It's pretty colorful, it's pretty clean, pretty cozy. The only thing that maybe holds it back a little bit is that it starts repeating itself after playing like a couple of hours. Still, for a free game, it's a nice little time killer. Ratchet & Clank Ranger Rumble is now, it does have a release date of October 5, coming to Android and iOS. So for those of you who missed it, it's actually a multiplayer instead of like the big story adventure fans have been asking for, but personally I'm not even holding that against it. I'd rather judge it when it's in front of you. Number one reason is that from what we've seen so far, it actually looks like they understand the personality of the franchise and everything around it, you know? If they keep the progression fair and don't bury everything behind monetization, since the game already looks dope, it could easily become one of those games you install just to mess around and realizing you're still playing it half day later. We'll see. Chasing Kaleidorider, which I think we've heard about, seen it revealed a year ago, is in fact one of probably the most bizarre games on the horizon right now. I mean, it's in a closed beta, you can play it. It is bizarre in maybe a good way. On paper, basically the premise is anime girls on motorcycles fighting monsters while you take them on dates. Which sounds like someone threw random ideas into a blender, but after playing the actual game, I'm happy to report that it really has its own identity and it works. The combat's built around these high-speed bike attacks that make every fight feel like a little more dynamic than your typical turn-based games, and then between different fights, you will spend time with different chicks hanging around the city and building relationships, seeing where they go. It's definitely not trying to play it safe, so high respect for that. It's an online game about 10 gigabytes in total. That's basically all over the mobile gaming right now. Narco Empire, in case you missed it's a Idle Tycoon brand new game with this crime boss theme, obviously, and I'll admit it, it's actually put together better than I expected. You're going in, like, always expanding your operation, upgrading, managing shipments, taking over new territory, which is probably one of the most addictive paces when it comes to mobile games, so there's always like another better little goal waiting for you to go forward for it. It's less about the action, more about watching your empire sort of snowball. It's probably not reinventing the genre, the theme does a lot of the heavy lifting, but underneath all of that, it's a pretty familiar mobile management sim most of us already love. That, with a pretty slick presentation and a progression that feels genuinely satisfying right from the start. On another hand, number 5. Once Human is probably one of the most impressive games you can play on mobile right now, if you could run it though. Like, it genuinely feels like a PC survival, a AAA game that just happens to somehow fit in your pocket. It's not perfect. You know, the menus can be overwhelming at times, at first specifically. On some phones, you're going to be running into some frame drops or long loading times as well, especially during crowded world events and sessions. But once it clicks, this is almost unfairly addictive when it comes to mobile games, like just wandering around, gathering, upgrading, or just basically one of the most addictive parts of the game, teaming up for a boss fight. It really does feel like one of those games that raises the bar for what mobile hardware can really handle. Coming in at number 6, we've got Astro Arena, and this one's actually been cooking. It's actually PUBG Studios sort of shot or try at the mobile MOBA scene, but instead of dragging matches out for like half an hour, everything in this game is just built around these quick 3-minute sort of battles. You know, you jump into 3 versus 3 fights, capture objectives and get right back into another match before you can even realize it. The anime heroes all play out differently, so like there's a decent amount to learn if you stick with it. It's easy enough to get into, but there's clearly some depth for competitive players chasing the rank ladder as well. So it's not Dota 2, but it's a brave attempt at that. Here's the thing, if it's not showing up in your region yet, don't worry, it should be rolling out by the end of tomorrow night. Once it's out, I would say this could end up being one of the bigger mobile multiplayer launches of this month. Not a genuine developer port, but in case you missed it, JDM, the console game, had a pretty neat indie little test attempt on Android, and it's right now going by the name Drift Racing. It's not a hardcore racing sim, but like a drift racing. You're basically driving different tuned JDM cars, throwing it sideways through corners, and do your best chasing drifts instead of lap times. The handling's pretty easy to get into, but still gives you enough control to link long slides once you get the feel for it. If you're looking for a quick drifting game to kill some time without spending hours learning realistic physics and stuff, this is probably one of the greatest games you can actually pick up for free and play offline on Android right now. Going down to number 8 with an anticipated game here, Supremacy Warhammer 40k. Definitely not the kind of strategy game you check every 10 minutes. It's one of those long haul experiences where matches sort of play out over days, you know, sometimes even weeks. So look, if you want quick matches, this definitely ain't gonna do it. But if you enjoy slowly cooked strategies, logging in throughout the day just to watch a war still going with dozens of different real players, it's actually a pretty addictive game to begin with. It still has the usual mobile timers and optional speed ups and stuff, but most players agree that strategy itself is a real reason to stick around, especially if you're already into Warhammer games. Sitting on both the Google and the Apple Store through both the paid and a free version, one's offline, the other one's not, Union of Gnomes finally found its way to mobile, and it's pretty decent. Now for those of you who miss it, it's a kind of deck building game that just rewards you for actually thinking instead of like chasing whatever strongest card you find. The fairy tale setting does keep things really fun without getting in the way, and there's enough variety between different runs that really make it genuinely interesting to even try for. The mobile version plays great, so if you've been waiting for a solid roguelike deck building game on your phone, this is like a very easy game to even pick. So look guys, EA College Football Mobile 27 actually looks like EA put some effort into making a mobile game once, and it kind of feels different from Madden games. Like it's not about winning even, but to actually build a college program, recruit future stars, managing your roster, chasing championship over different seasons as you go. The college atmosphere, of course, the mascots and the rivalries give it a ton of more personality than your average football game, and of course it's still packed with lots of life service mechanics. It's an EA game, but if they don't go overboard with the monetization for the long run, this could become the go-to football game for like a month at least.
Journey with your partner. Raise your Digimon.
So look guys, in case you missed it this past couple of weeks, Bandai Namco just pushed the release earlier, and instead of July 28th, Digimon Up came out yesterday. So yeah, it's a monster raising RPG. It's basically turning into something that goes better into daily routine. Not the MMO stuff, like more of a companion game. And it's not Tamagotchi. The gacha sucks, but it's still fine as far as mobile games go, because they're heavy grind on gacha. It's got the familiar monsters, simple progression, the old collect and evolve loop as well. I don't know, check it out in case you missed it. It's a free game, it's available on Android and iOS.
Animation, cadence, and VFX clarity have all been rebuilt to make the...
If you're into dark fantasy MMO games, you know, especially something for the long run, Ungodly right now is the one you must at least keep an eye out for. It has an old school action RPG vibe where it's about everything but flash. The world is bleak from start to finish. The combat rewards patience over anything else, especially button mashing. Definitely one of those projects that could surprise a lot of players if it sticks the landing. It's been in the making for a long time. It's now out through its final beta. The full game is coming out in less than a month right now. Not to mention that Ungodly is actually from the developers behind Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, so it's in pretty good hands. Check it out in case you missed it. It's an online game, about 4 GB in total. Hashtag Drive is one of those games that's just ridiculously easy to lose track of time when playing. The driving has this very smooth, laid-back feel where you're just going through traffic, get your feel, seeing how long you can stay on the road. It looks great too, you know, with this retro art style giving every location its own personality and nostalgia. So well received, in fact, that it's finally coming to the Nintendo Switch with an update on the way for mobiles, which is basically why it's in the list today. If you prefer a relaxing arcade racer instead of another super serious driving game, this one actually still holds up really well. Plants on Fire is actually a pretty wild mix of ideas, but they work really well. It takes the classic tower defense, throws in deck building, submerging, and then auto chess mechanics. All that just to make every battle feel like a mini strategy puzzle and a casual, addictive game. You're not just placing plans and waiting, but building combos, upgrading your squad, trying to outsmart the players as well. Pretty quick game, the plant design is pretty fun, there's a surprising amount of strategy, good amount of depth hiding beneath every fight. It's a free game, it's about 1 GB in total, it's available on Android, why not? Going down to number 15, we've got this thing called Asdivine Saga. It is classic Kemco comfort food. It's got the turn-based battles, the pixel art, fun little cast of characters, that old school JRPG pixel art that just never really goes out of style. The story also takes a while to get going, but the combat then along the way keeps things very interesting with different elemental spirits, gear upgrades, lots of them, few mechanics to give battles more depth than you'd expect. If you're the kind of player who enjoys relaxing JRPGs with plenty of progression and some nostalgia, don't mind a bit of old school charm, this one's an easy recommendation, although you need a Crunchyroll membership for it. Goldfish, however, at number 16, we just came across what actually comes from the same developer who made Superbox Delivery, the first game in the list, is one of those puzzle games that's really easy to like right from the start. So your character moves by spitting water to launch this fish protagonist around every different stage, and it sort of ends up feeling really satisfying once you get the hang of it. Different sea creatures in the game aren't just there look cute, they're part of the puzzles, keeping every level fresh. It's a pretty simple game, relaxing, doesn't overstay its welcome, making it just simply a great game to pick up whenever you've got a few minutes to spare. One of the biggest survival games ever made, finally coming to mobile in case you missed it. Don't Starve Together is now finally coming out in 3 days on Android and iOS, and it's already running through its final beta on the Apple Store. This is one of those games everyone should experience at least once. It's a co-op survival game where every decision matters, whether you're gathering food, building a camp, crafting better gear, or trying to survive just basically any given moment in the game. One of the best survival games ever made, great to see it finally coming around to mobile gaming. It'll be a premium paid $8.99 purchase. At number 18, we've got Turbo Rush, which sort of cuts out a lot of the usual mobile network and gets straight to the fun. The matches are very quick, you're constantly adjusting your deck with mid-game upgrades, and every decision actually matters once the enemy waves start, piling up. It's a strategy tower defense, you know what it is. You've got boss battles at the end of every stage, which is a nice twist. I mean, it's the usual stuff, but it's well translated here. Very easy to learn, surprisingly tactical, and a good pick if you just basically like competitive tower defense games without all the unnecessary grind. It's a free game as well. Down to number 18, we've got Escape Game Amsterdam. Another escape game from Yam's work, which if you played the games before, you already know the drill, you know the vibe. Puzzles are in fact pretty clever without becoming frustrating. The Amsterdam setting gives every screen plenty of little details to poke around. The game itself is a slow, relaxing kind of puzzler where you can take your time, enjoy the scenery, gradually piece everything together and go forward. Nothing here tries to reinvent the genre, of course, but that's like almost all the charm there is. And overall, it's just a well-made escape game that's easy to recommend if you enjoy solving puzzles at your own pace. And at number 20, we've got Tap Troop, which sort of keeps things also very simple, but there's also more strategy than you'd expect if you want it. The matches only take a few minutes, so you're constantly tweaking your lineup, changing different formations, deciding whether to play aggressively or just outlast your opponent, and the chibi art style gives it plenty of charm as well, while the hero variety adds enough depth to keep experimenting with different teams. It just basically feels built for quick sessions, but it's also surprisingly easy to keep saying just one more match. Very good game actually. And last but not least, we've got Star Sailors, If you are into collectible games and good-looking anime games, I've actually said it before, this is not the perfect game, but Star Sailors is actually the kind of game that will end up taking way more of your time than you expect it would. So the game just finally launched globally, and right away you can tell these developers are trying too hard almost to hook new players with the looks. It's not just that though, there's free summons, a bunch of them, plenty of resources and enough heroes to get you experimenting with them for weeks. The battles are pretty classic turn-based stuff, but the real fun kind of starts once you stop throwing these random characters together and actually build that squad smartly, so then it may actually click. So look, if you've actually spent way too many hours on games like Epic 7 or Outer Plane, this is one of those games that's actually genuinely worth checking out. Thanks for watching, I really hope you enjoyed. I'll see you again tomorrow.